Welcome to Global Capital Engine, where we decode the complex financial shifts reshaping our world and protecting your future wealth today. We are standing on the precipice of a historic financial reset that will fundamentally alter the value of your money forever. In less than 24 hours from this critical date, a new set of global banking laws will officially come into full force. This is not a drill or a speculation. It is the implementation of the Basel III Endgame, a rule changing everything. For the first time in decades, gold and silver are moving from the shadows of speculation to the center of banking. The new regulations will classify physical precious metals as Tier 1 assets, making them legally equivalent to holding physical cash reserves. Most investors are completely unaware of this shift, leaving their portfolios exposed to the most significant revaluation event in modern history. Capital is silently fleeing from paper promises and moving rapidly into tangible assets before the public realizes what is actually happening. At the center of this storm is the Bank for International Settlements, often called the central bank of all central banks. They have issued a complex directive that forces every major bank to restructure how they value risk and hold their reserves. Embedded deep within a dense 287-page document are the specific clauses that trigger this massive monetary reset. The critical change is the adjustment of risk weighting for physical gold, effectively reducing the penalty for holding it to zero. This means banks can now hold physical bullion without setting aside extra capital to cover potential losses or market volatility risks. However, this privilege is strictly reserved for allocated physical metal, leaving paper derivatives and unallocated accounts out in the cold. By classifying gold as Tier 1, regulators are admitting that in a crisis, it is the only asset with no counterparty risk. Unlike bonds or currencies, physical gold does not rely on the promise of a government or the solvency of a bank. This regulatory change creates a massive incentive for institutions to dump paper contracts and acquire real metal to strengthen their balance sheets. We are already seeing the early signs of this liquidity drain as smart money positions itself before the public implementation date. While gold gets the headlines, silver is also impacted, creating a dual pressure on the physical supply of precious metals globally. Let us dive deeper into the technical mechanics of why this specific rule change is a game changer for the global economy. The mechanism is known as the net stable funding ratio, which demands banks hold stable assets to cover their long-term liabilities. Under the new rules, holding unallocated paper gold requires 85% required stable funding, making it incredibly expensive for banks. Banks will no longer want to hold these paper positions because the cost of maintaining them destroys their profit margins significantly. This effectively kills the fractional reserve bullion banking system that has suppressed the true price of gold for over 40 years. We are witnessing the reversal of the structure set in place in 1971, returning to a more honest asset valuation. The preference for physical overpaper is not just psychological. It is now a mathematical imperative dictated by international banking law. Exchanges in London and New York are scrambling to understand how to maintain liquidity when the banks withdraw from market making. Only fully allocated, physical metal held in absolute possession qualifies for the 0% risk weighting benefit under the new accord. This has triggered a logistical race to transport physical bars from exchange warehouses into the private vaults of major banking institutions. Market data is beginning to show severe stress fractures in the supply chain as the available floating supply dries up completely. We will likely see a decoupling where the paper price becomes irrelevant and the physical price explodes to reflect true scarcity. Mining production cannot simply be ramped up overnight to meet this new institutional demand, creating a classic supply shock scenario. With supply inelastic and demand becoming vertical due to regulatory mandates, The equilibrium price must adjust upwards dramatically to compensate. Official data from the COMEX shows registered inventories plummeting as smart money takes delivery rather than rolling over their futures contracts. Once the retail public realizes that banks are hoarding gold, the panic buying will empty the remaining retail inventory within days. Those who wait until the news becomes mainstream will find themselves unable to source metal at any price point whatsoever. To navigate this transition, we have identified 7 specific actionable steps you must consider taking before the January deadline arrives. First, prioritize physical possession immediately. If you cannot hold it in your hand, you do not truly own it today. Second, audit your current portfolio and liquidate unallocated paper gold positions that could be settled in cash during a default. Third, consider high-quality mining equities. Companies with proven reserves in the ground will be revalued alongside the metal itself. Fourth, do not ignore silver. It is historically undervalued relative to gold and will likely outperform in percentage terms during the rally. Fifth, establish secure storage outside the banking system. Private vaults offer protection against bank bail-ins and systemic financial freezes. Sixth, stay hypervigilant on regulatory news. The rules of the game are changing, and agility will be your best defense. Seventh, prepare psychologically for extreme volatility. The transition period will be chaotic before the new system stabilizes and prices settle. These 7 steps form a defensive shield around your wealth, positioning you to benefit rather than suffer from the changes. The window of opportunity to act at current price levels is closing rapidly as the implementation date draws closer every day. History shows that when monetary systems reset, wealth is not destroyed. It is merely transferred from the unprepared to the prepared. You now possess the knowledge that 99% of the population lacks, giving you a distinct advantage in this environment. We are moving from a world of infinite paper promises to a world of finite, tangible reality where truth is value. Every major financial restructuring in the past century has resulted in a significantly higher price for gold and silver assets. Eastern central banks have been preparing for this shift for years, accumulating thousands of tons of bullion in anticipation. Basel III is the final move in a long geopolitical chess game to restore credibility to the global banking system. The choice you make in the coming days could define your financial stability for the next decade of your life. Let this information serve as your lighthouse, guiding you away from the rocks of systemic risk and towards safe harbor. The global capital engine is turning, and the gears of finance are grinding toward a new standard of honest money. When the dust settles, those holding real assets will be the ones rebuilding the foundation of the new economy. The laws are written, the dates are set, and the machinery of enforcement is already in motion across the globe. Do not let complacency or skepticism blind you to the data that is plainly visible in the official banking documents. While cash loses purchasing power daily, gold is being restored to its rightful place as the ultimate store of value. The old ways of Wall Street leverage and paper manipulation are ending, making way for a system built on collateral. You hold the key to your own financial sovereignty, but you must use it before the doors are locked shut. This is a global phenomenon, affecting every currency, every market, and every saver in every country on this planet. Be the one who acts ahead of the herd. The crowd is always late, and in finance, being late is expensive. Time is the one asset you cannot buy more of. Use the time you have now to secure your position. As the winds of change blow through the banking sector, only the heaviest, most solid assets will remain standing. Trust is returning to the system, but only for those who hold the assets that the system itself now trusts. The era of unbacked fiat dominance is sunsetting, and the dawn of asset-backed banking is breaking over the horizon. Economic cycles are natural, but this is not just a cycle. It is a structural evolution of the financial architecture. Build your shield now. Basel III is not a threat to those who are prepared. It is the ultimate opportunity. With the Tier 1 confirmation, the debate is over. The world's most powerful banks have spoken with their regulations. Take note of these details. Verify them yourself. Read the BIS documents. The truth is hidden in plain sight. Your financial future is a wall you build one brick at a time. Make sure those bricks are made of gold. Gold is not a barbarous relic of the past. It is the sophisticated collateral of the future banking system. Even as we move into a digital age, the physical foundation must remain solid to support the virtual structures above. Do not get caught holding a claim check for a warehouse that has already been emptied by the central banks. The market always seeks equilibrium. The suppression of price via paper is ending, and true price discovery is beginning. Watch the spread between paper and physical prices. It will be the first warning sign of the final breakout. When the breakout happens, it will be violent and swift. There will be no time to react, only to watch. We have seen bank runs before, but a run on the physical gold market is something the world hasn't seen recently. Gold is the anchor. While other asset classes drift and crash in the storm, gold holds its position and value. As inflation erodes the real yield of bonds, the zero yield of gold becomes increasingly attractive to institutional capital. They can print trillions of currency units, but they cannot print a single ounce of gold or silver. Physics and chemistry dictate the scarcity of these metals. No government decree or banking regulation can alter their atomic properties. Holding through the volatility requires conviction. That conviction comes from understanding the fundamental drivers we have discussed today. Ignore the short-term noise and manipulation. Focus on the long-term structural trend that Basel III guarantees. Educate yourself. The more you understand the history of money, the more this transition makes perfect logical sense. Basel III is just one piece of the puzzle, but it is the piece that locks everything else into place. Build your bridge to the future now. Do not wait until the chasm widens and the bridge becomes impassable. Analysts predict a supply deficit of thousands of tons once the new capital requirements force banks to cover their shorts. With exploration budgets cut for years, new supply is years away from coming online, exacerbating the coming squeeze. We are at the knee of the exponential curve. The move from here will likely be vertical and relentless. The clock is ticking, the system is changing, the opportunity is right in front of you. Will you seize it? Share this information with those you care about. Financial protection is more effective when your community is also prepared. Join the conversation. Engage with others who see the same signals. We are stronger when we navigate this together. Global Capital Engine is committed to keeping you ahead of the curve, providing the intelligence you need to survive. Remember the date, January 13th, 2026. It marks the official end of the paper gold era. Remember the classification, Tier 1. The highest possible safety rating a financial asset can receive in the banking world. Remember the incentive, 0% risk weighting. Banks are now paid to hold gold rather than penalized for it. Imagine a future where your wealth is preserved, secure from inflation, and recognized globally as the ultimate form of money. That future is possible, but it requires action today. You must plant the seeds of wealth before the season changes. Open your eyes to the reality of the financial system. Do not let the mainstream media keep you in the dark. The headlines will distract you, but the regulations tell the true story. Follow the laws, not the news cycle. You are the captain of your own financial ship. Steer it towards the safety of physical assets before the storm hits. The path of least resistance for gold prices is higher. The fundamental forces are aligned for a historic revaluation. This is about more than just profit. It is about preserving purchasing power for your children and your grandchildren. Nations are moving. Central banks are moving. Smart money is moving. The only question left is, are you moving? Are you ready for the Basel III Endgame? Because, ready or not, the new rules are coming into effect. Walk confidently into this new era. You have the map, you know the rules, and you see the destination. We have covered the regulations, the supply crunch, the paper penalties, and the action plan you need to succeed. If you found value in this deep dive, please subscribe to Global Capital Engine and turn on notifications immediately. Like this video to help the algorithm spread this warning, and comment below with your thoughts on the reset. The world is changing fast. Make sure you are holding the assets that will shine brightest in the dark. Thank you for watching Global Capital Engine. Stay prepared, stay vigilant, and we will see you in the next video.
From everyone here, and especially from me, thank you. Your support truly means everything to us, and we are incredibly grateful.